We're here at Westminster Abbey, and I've just heard the 6 o'clock Eucharist on Trinity Sunday, and I'm here with Justin White, who is one of my favorite liturgists in the world. His introduction to the service was magnificent tonight. And well, the wonderful thing about Justin is he's got experience here in England, and he also, as the former Canon Precentor of Grace Cathedral, understands Grace Cathedral also. And I wonder, Justin, as you look around just this place, Westminster Abbey, you can tell us just what Grace Cathedral might have to learn from Westminster Abbey, and then what Westminster Abbey might learn from Grace Cathedral.
Yes.
I'm just going to pin this onto you.
Lovely. Thank you. Well, I was preaching the sermon this evening and had a double take when I saw the Dean of Grace, so this is very lovely to be here. Thank you. It is an extraordinary place to live, this. You've got Parliament, the Palace of Westminster behind us, which of course is the seat of government. You've got the civil service all around here. You've got the church house from which the Church of England is run, just a few hundred yards from here, and Westminster School across the way. So it really feels like the melting pot of church and state in this place. It all kind of comes together. And that does give it a really sort of profoundly sort of serious sense living here. The combination of church and state, of trying to incarnate the gospel in the context of this sort of political setting is a great privilege for those of us who live here. I mean, Grace, what I loved about Grace was that you guys really put your money where your mouth is. The living out of the gospel, being that focal point for the civil rights movement in the 60s and the AIDS crisis in the 90s, and now today with other immigrant populations in San Francisco. It was lovely for me, even though I was there for a short time, to see the gospel being incarnated in that way. And what you're so good at, I think, is that you talk about your faith in a very open way that us Brits, who are a little bit kind of, a little bit sort of self-conscious, are not so good at. So I've tried to bring a bit of grace openness to this perhaps rather stuffy environment of church and state.
The way you led the service was so beautiful tonight. I was so inspired by it. You're one of the best people I know in presiding at a worship service.
Oh, goodness.
And you definitely conveyed that. I felt very at home and comfortable. And as we were going through Westminster Abbey, I noticed just how much history there is in the building. And I wonder if you can tell us anything you might have learned from the history of this place that informs kind of like normal life today.
Yeah. I mean, you do get an acute sense of the fact that you are standing on the shoulders of giants who've gone before you in this place. But what's lovely about the Abbey, of course, is they're not just people who are necessarily confessing the faith.
Right.
I mean, there are people like Charles Darwin in there. We've recently laid to rest Stephen Hawking, who I don't think anyone could call a conventional Christian in that sense. But nonetheless, we recognise that it's important to honour and to celebrate these lives, because if you believe in God, then what parts of our experience are revelatory of the divine. It's either everything or nothing. And Westminster Abbey, I think, gives a strong sense that everybody is included here. The scientists, the politicians, the poets, the convicted Christians, the atheists, because they all have something profound to contribute to human understanding, which is in itself the doing of theology, I suppose.
Right. And the beauty of it is that there are so many people who have accomplished such extraordinary things, and God is at work in those people, and God is at work at those beautiful accomplishments too.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. But I mean, some of them are characters that if we delve too deeply into their histories and lives, we might feel quite uncomfortable with these days. And that's something that I think all churches are having to go through at the moment. Especially with the enormous amount of memorials that you find in this place. Right. To what degree should we be asking questions about the history of these people? Or is it wrong for us to try and impose our 21st century perspective onto the lives of a previous generation. But that's a hot issue here at the moment.
It is for us too, just the murals and the representation of various peoples in those murals and in all the art that we have at Grace Cathedral.
Absolutely.
But Justin, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
I cannot believe it. I
Yes,
cannot believe it. I did not think this is how my evening would pan out. So thank you so much. Great pleasure.
Yes, it is. And my name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral in San Francisco, California. Thanks for watching More Good News.